Well, Dr. Heinsohn, I think we live in unprecedented times. Would you agree with me that in your lifetime, in my lifetime, we've not seen anything like, say, the last, 5 years or so?
Exactly. At least since World War II.
Yes.
There has not been a time when the world has been in the kind of chaos it's in right now. The Middle East meltdown is really just the tip of the iceberg of a global time of chaos that is starting to erupt and ultimately will engulf the entire planet.
I'm going to get two birds with one stone here. I'm going to play a quick soundbite of you and Jack Hibbs. Jack Hibbs is also speaking for my conference October 4th, and he does a tremendous online television program, Real Life with Jack Hibbs. He's interviewing you. So if you don't mind listening to you, I'm going to play a 2-minute soundbite, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to expand on it in just a moment.
These are amazing days. Talk to me about ISIS, about Russia, about Gaza, Hamas, Israel. What's going on in the world from your perspective, which is huge? I need to hear this.
I think there's two things. In the big picture, we've lived in a window of God's grace since World War II. And most of America has forgotten that and walked away from the God who has blessed us. And they think, oh, it's just always going to be fine. No, you live in a fallen world. This is a planet of depraved people. Give them a chance to do wrong, and most of them are going to take it. It's only a matter of time. We live on this nuclear powder keg that could blow at any moment, but we don't like to think about it.
Right.
We want to party on. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go have fun. Let's go to the beach. Let's pretend it's not going to happen. And yet there's this nagging reality in the bottom of your soul that you know it could happen at any time, and now that it suddenly seems to be out of control and there's no answer. That's the problem.
Yes.
The president can't fix it. I'm not sure anybody can fix it. Now, we know prophetically, are these things predicted? Yes.
Yes.
Israel's got to go back to the land in the last days to fulfill the prophecies of the end times. There has to be a crisis in the Middle East that leads to several wars that are out of control.
Right.
And eventually there has to be a world leader who tries to consolidate the Western powers out of the revived Roman Empire, EU, the European Union, and Russia's the wild card in the whole ball game. When you look at the predictions in the Bible, especially the Battle of Gog and Magog, you've got to recognize, wow, it sure looks like the table's getting set in this direction. Now, we can't run ahead of God. We don't know how much pieces are left to put into the puzzle, but we can get enough pieces of the puzzle put together to see what the final picture is going to look like.
Ed Heinsohn, as you say, folks want to party, and because that way they can run away from all that's happening. Of all the things you just lined up there that are going on in the world and that are going to happen in the very near future, we don't know when, what to you is the most impending, the most significant of the things you just outlined?
Well, Jesus, in Luke 21:28, he said, when these things begin to happen, then look up. Your redemption draws nigh. So when the prophetic table begins to be set before us, that ought to get our attention. I think the super sign has been the fact of Israel's return to the Promised Land. If we take the Old Testament prophecies seriously at all, they all indicate that Israel has to be in the land in the last days, and they've been there now for 65 or so years. They've finally gotten established in the land. That had to happen. The crisis in the Middle East is also clearly predicted. As you read, especially through the prophecies of Ezekiel, it's obvious that he's naming nations like Russia and Turkey and Libya and Sudan that are all coming against Israel at the time of the end. And then the book of Revelation is talking about trees burning up and grass burning up and balls of fire falling on the earth and on the ocean. It certainly sounds like weapons of mass destruction. So if none of those things existed today, Israel did not exist, the Middle East was quiet and peaceful. If weapons of mass destruction had never been invented, then we might wonder how close are we to the time of the end. But all of those things are a reality today. They're like flashing red lights that God is using to get our attention. I like to remind people, prophecy is not written to scare us. It's written to prepare us to be ready for the Lord when he comes.